You just got engaged. But before you even had a chance to ugly cry those happy tears or post the ring photo, someone hits you with it. So, when's the wedding? Like you're supposed to have that locked in 5 minutes after the proposal. Damn! Honestly, that question though stresses out couples so much more than it really should. Because here's the thing, you kinda do need a date before you can plan anything else. Not the final set in stone save the date day, just like at least a starting point. Because the second you call the venue, the second you reach out to a coordinator or a photographer like moi, they're gonna ask you, so, what date are you looking at? And then if you say, sometime next year, they'll just smile, they'll be polite about it, but that doesn't mean that they're actually gonna be able to help you because they can't check their availability. So today, let's talk about how you actually pick a wedding date and what nobody tells you about that one decision that basically affects everything else. What's up? I'm OJ, photographer, videographer, and your unsolicited wedding advice guy. My wife Sheila and I have been shooting weddings here in Southern California for since 2006, so it's been a while. And between the two of us, we've seen a lot of weddings, hot weddings, cold weddings, wedding where the sun disappeared way too early. We've seen it all. And if you're new here, this channel Unveiled is where we break down real wedding planning stuff, not the fluffy highlight reel version, the actual, okay, what do I actually need to know version. Also, quick mention before we dive in, if you're in full planning mode, and if you have 100 questions and 0 answers, I have built something just for you. It's called Weddings Unveiled, and it's basically a wedding planning ChatGPT thing. It's within ChatGPT, so you can talk to it anytime. If you're already using ChatGPT, it just makes it all the more specialized with all our knowledge. So budget questions, vendor questions, timeline questions, all of it. The link is in the description. Check it out. It's free. Use it. So the first approach that a lot of couples take is picking a date that already means something. So let's say that could be the day you started dating, the day that you got engaged, maybe the day he finally realized he should probably lock this down before someone else did. If a meaningful date speaks to you, wonderful. That's actually a really beautiful way to choose. But for most couples, the bigger question is really about season. What time of year do you want to get married? For a long time, summer was the wedding season. You've heard June Bride. That was the classic. But something shifted in the last few years. Fall weddings, especially October, have really become the most popular time. It genuinely took over. I remember looking at our calendar one year thinking, did I mess something up? Or why is June slower than October now? I don't know how it is for other people, but that's what we've seen. Well, once you think about it, though, it does make complete sense. And that brings me to something that couples almost never think about until it's too late. Sunlight. Here's what nobody tells you. When you're picking a season, sunlight controls your entire wedding day timeline. After your ceremony, typically you're doing family photos, bridal party photos, portraits, and all that stuff. If you're getting married in the summer, the sunset might not happen until close to 8 p.m. Nobody's rushing. No one's yelling about losing light. Everyone just breathes. But summer has a downside. Heat. Capital H-O-T. Heat. Here in Southern California, summers have been no joke lately. And our AC went out. That's not cool. We've regularly been hitting the 90s, and if your venue's inland, you could be looking at triple digits. Now imagine wearing a full wedding dress with all the beading and all that kind of ornate stuff, or a 3-piece black suit, or being a bridesmaid standing outside flowers that are slowly wilting as it gets rough. It gets rough. Fall, on the other hand, personally is one of my favorites. I love fall colors. Usually brings nicer temperatures and genuinely beautiful light. But then you got the whole daylight savings time thing. Gosh darn it, America. Why do we have daylight savings time? Once it ends, sunset moves up. Instead of 8 p.m., you might be looking at 5 p.m. It's not really a deal breaker. Don't get me wrong. You just adjust your ceremony time. So a 3 o'clock ceremony works great in the fall. Ceremony wraps around 3:30 or maybe 4 o'clock if you're doing a Catholic wedding. You've got until 5:30 for all your photos, family, bridal party, portraits. Done before the sun dips. It's easy. We do it all the time. You're good. Bottom line, there's no wrong season. Summer works, fall works, spring works. You just gotta plan your timeline around the daylight that you have. Cool? Here's one that surprises a lot of people. Weekday weddings. And I don't just mean Friday. I mean, you can actually do a Monday, a Tuesday, any of the day of the week. Couples are doing this more and more for 2 reasons. 1, venues offer better pricing on weekdays, sometimes significantly better. 2, your guest count naturally gets smaller. They become midgets, because not everyone can really take a Tuesday off. Here's why that matters. Every guest adds cost. food, chairs, tables, place settings. It all scales with headcount. A smaller guest list can genuinely move the needle on your overall budget. Now, how far in advance should you actually plan your wedding? The sweet spot that I see most often is about a year to even a year and a half of your engagement day. That gives you enough runway to book your venue, lock in your vendors, and actually enjoy the process without feeling like you're constantly running behind. Another factor about time is how much time do we need based on our regular income and the savings that we had to get there. That's a big one. So that also helps you plan your timeline. Speaking of questions, you're probably already stacking up with all these questions. Again, that's exactly what Weddings Unveiled is built for. So it's that custom GPT that I created. It's basically a wedding planning assistant, and you can ask it anything. Budget math, vendor timelines, ceremony structure, all of it. And all the episodes that we are filming, we're adding the interview knowledge, the scripts of these things, all the knowledge goes into it. So it's smarter and smarter until one day it's going to take over. Anyway, seriously, go check it out. It's free. Last thing I want you to hear before you go. The date that you start might not be the date that you actually end up with. Maybe your dream wedding venue is booked that weekend. Maybe your church only does certain dates. Maybe your favorite photographer is locked in on that Saturday but totally free the next one. That happens constantly. The goal right now isn't to find the perfect date. The goal is to just pick a starting point, a rough month, just so that when you start asking about availability, you have a season or a rough date. Cool? All right. So let's keep planning. If this helped, make sure you subscribe. We talk about this stuff all the time here on Unveiled. Real advice based on what actually really happens with all the maybe 20 years or so of wedding experience I've been doing as well. And one last shameless plug, if you're planning your wedding in Southern California, you're looking for a photographer or a videographer, my wife and I, Sheila, do that, and we'd be doing all the silliness on your wedding day. We'd love to talk to you, reach out, touch someone. Check out HopeBoat Productions in the description. That's our company. All right, anyway, enough of this selling. Go pick that date. Happy planning. I'll see you in the next one.